I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Cooper.
Thank you very much, Susie. Welcome to everyone. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm going to introduce the keynote speaker. Her name is Ntombi Nkiwane, and she's a native of South Africa and is in her first year at Dalhousie University, where she studied political science and economics. She's passionate about the African diaspora and education and is very involved in university life and her community. She's working towards the goal of becoming a physician. Ntombi is also the local coordinator of the Women's Health Organization International, and she will be speaking here on behalf of the Women's Health Organization International. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, girls. Thank you so much for having me. As Dr. Cooper said, my name is Ntombi Nkiwane. I'm from South Africa, and I am the local coordinator of the Women's Health Organization International. The founder of the organization, Habiba, couldn't be here, so I'm going to speak on her behalf as local coordinator. Okay, so the picture you see in front of you is a Nafkat, who was a young girl from Tarabia, Niger. She suffered an obstetric fistula. And can I just see a raise of hands? Do any of you guys have heard of fistula before? Okay. Okay, so we differentiate fistula from obstetric fistula because fistula is it's a generic term in medicine. So we're going to be speaking about obstetric fistula in particular. Okay, so fistula is arguably the most devastating affliction known to humanity. It results from a prolonged obstructive labor in which the baby is not positioned in the uterus, or the pelvis is too small to accommodate for the baby to pass through. A tear usually forms in the bladder or the rectal wall of the distressed woman, and the child is usually stillborn, and the woman usually develops a urinary or fetal incontinence, which means that she leaks body. What happens is the child is usually stillborn because when the child is trying to get through, there's not enough space, and so the oxygen supply is kind of diminished. Okay. So as you can see as well, the black areas over there, that's the tear area of fistula in the rectum to the right, and then to the left is the area of fistula in the bladder. Due to the dreadful conditions fistula patients kind of face, they're usually abandoned by their society and ostracized from communities. And this is a slide with Nafkat and her surgeon after he cured her from fistula. His name is Dr. Idrissa. So following an unsuccessful, agonizing 4-day labor, Nafkat's father took her to the Hôpital National de Niamey in Niger's capital, where her fistula was cured. Her life was so kind of affected by this experience that when she returned home, she made it a point of duty to help eradicate fistula and other women's health-related issues. So she quickly returned to school, and she was dubbed as the college student by her fellow peers. She became an advocate in her community and an authority on female empowerment, and she spoke on the local radio station, spreading awareness amongst her peers and amongst her relatives about the importance of educating young women like herself. I want to become a doctor and an important woman. These are the direct words of the Nafkat. Habiba, the founder of the Women's Health Organization International, learned about the Nafkat when she was 12 years old, after reading her story in the Wall Street Journal about the events related to her experience with fistula. Not only did the story resonate with Habiba on a humanitarian and empathetic level, but it also resonated with her culturally, because Habiba has West African origins from Guinea and Liberia, which means that she also shared certain sentiments and elements of her humanity with the Nafkat. And it also resonated with me culturally because I'm from although because I'm from South Africa, which is in Sub-Saharan Africa, and fistula isn't prevalent there, I can empathize with an Afghan as a fellow African woman. And although fistula is currently an issue of areas in the global south, it's not mutually exclusive to the health issues of African descent women living in Canada, America, Europe, or other parts of the global north. Nor is it mutually exclusive to the health or social problems faced by the general population of young Canadian women like yourselves in high school and universities. Fistula is really an indicator of a bigger problem, and the problem is the condition of women in today's world. Habiba is a high school student, like I said, and I'm a university student. Young Canadian girls are affected by the blatant misogyny and rape culture that's prevalent in our societies. In schools, derogatory terms are thrown around loosely both by young men and women. And what's insidious about such language is that it becomes accepted and it becomes the norm. So subconsciously, we learn to accept and validate the denigration of women. A Statistics Canada report found that 1 in 4 Canadian women are sexually assaulted before the age of 16, and that's kind of your guys' age group, so it's very scary. Another example of the kind of acceptance of sexist activities is during Frosh Week in university campuses across Canada and across the United States. Just a few months ago at St. Mary's University, there was an incident with derogatory terms that were thrown around during Frosh Week in one of the Frosh Week songs, and this was a huge problem. A recent Global Mail article stated that no fewer than 1 in 5 women will be the victims of rape or attempted rape by graduation. This is very, very scary as well. And this rape culture is indicative of the inequality experienced by women here, in the same way that fistula patients in Ethiopia or Nigeria experience inequality. The cases of Elisa Marie Young, Maisie Oychik, Tanya Nepina, Caroline Sinclair, Retea Parks and Stonewall. The list goes on, and for example, Retea Parks, she was raped in school by her fellow classmates, and instead of the school and the community supporting her, they ostracized her, and she committed suicide, due to this. So it was very, very devastating. The Native Women's Association of Canada reports that more than 580 cases of missing or murdered Native women in Canada. So these are, for example, Aboriginal women. So you're all probably wondering, what fistula is about or where it came from. So as I mentioned earlier, it's arguably the most devastating affliction known to humanity. And fistula has been recognized as a maternal health issue for about 3.5 millennia. In 1550 BCE, an inscription found in Tebet, Egypt, alludes to a patient suffering from fistula. And I'll quote directly from the inscription. It says, "Prescription for a woman whose urine is in an irksome place. If the urine keeps coming and she distinguishes it, she will be like this forever." Then, 250 years later, Egyptian physicians looked at ways to treat the disease. So the Kahun Gynecological Papyrus, it's the world's oldest medical text from Kahun, Egypt, and this is a very, very advanced text, contrary to popular belief. And it dates back to about 1800 BCE. And it makes a direct reference to obstetric fistula as well. Today, there is little to no awareness about fistula in Canada, and yet there was a time when this was a significant problem in North America, and in North American obstetric care, to be specific. And I'll share a specific case with you to highlight this point. So, as you see on your screen, a man named Dr. Marion Sims. He was known to many as the father of gynecology, and he made his claim to fame by operating on the fistulas of slave women, including a woman named Anarcha. He brought them for their mouthfuls and forcibly performed obstetric fistula surgery without the use of anesthetic, although anesthetic was made available in this day and age. And as you can see, Anarcha was about to be, surgery was about to be performed on her, and she was made to go 30 excruciatingly painful operations before her fistula was cured. So Sim's exploitation of black women's bodies to perform medical experiments allowed for the development of the current methodology used to perform in curing obstetric fistula. These operations were part and parcel of the scientific mindset of the day, in which the thinking was black bodies, both male and female, were disposable and were exploitable. And I think it's always important to kind of remember that a cure for fistula was found, but at a devastating cost, and the cost was many black female lives. The world's first known fistula hospital was founded by Dr. Sims in 1855. Around 1925, it was renamed the Women's Hospital, as fistula no longer required significant medical attention because it was cured in the white female community in America. Yet in parts of the global south, like Uganda, Bangladesh, India, Niger, Sierra Leone, obstetric fistula care is really lagging behind. And the problem with this is that there's an estimated 2 to 3 million women who are constantly robbed of their dignity and denied their humanity. And the figures say 2 to 3 million because they can identify 2 million women with fistula, but they think that there may be more because they don't have access to certain areas, so it's hard to kind of tell how many exactly have fistula. And although 2 to 3 million doesn't sound like a lot for a medical condition, one has to take into account the fact that fistula is so pervasive in people's lives and that it affects them mentally, physically, emotionally. Fistula is a woman's problem, it's a poor woman's problem, but it's also a man's problem and it's also a child's problem. And we're all somehow kind of tied into it because we are all the product of pregnancy. Fistula is an indicator of how women are treated, especially poor women. It was eradicated in North America by the 20th century, like I said earlier, but it remains a problem for women and girls, like an affliction. Fistula is an indicator of poverty. It's an indicator of inequality between men and women. And it's really something to consider if you want to claim and uphold morality as the human population. You see, fistula is really associated with filth. And when we think of filth, we think of garbage, we think of nastiness, we think repulsion. Fistula patients are perceived as off-putting by their societies, by their communities, like I said earlier. No one wants to associate with them. And this image, if you look on the right, there's a woman who represents someone waiting to get their fistula surgery, not sure if it's going to go well, if it's not. And then if you go to the top left-hand corner, you'll see a woman who looks distressed because of the kind of the side effects of fistula, and she's very kind of in distress, emotionally, physically. And then at the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see a woman empowered after she's gotten her surgery. So it's kind of just like a paradigm, and it shows you the effects of fistula, but it also shows you what can happen when women are empowered, when women can get fistula care, how it can change their lives. Okay, so imagine developing fistula at 12 years of age, or somebody maybe around that age, and living with it until you're 17 years old. And I'm citing a specific case. I mean, some women live with fistula their whole lives. They don't know anything else. And because they don't receive treatment. And imagine during those 5 developmental years, and these are very crucial years in your childhood, you receive so much disdain and contempt from the world and from everyone around you. People, they kind of turn their backs to you. What kind of life is that? It's a mundane, everyday experience, and it's not life. Now, I'll take you back to Anafkat. Anafkat's paradigm shift made her see the world in a new way. She was more determined than ever to pursue education and effect change in her community. Anafkat unfortunately passed on due to complications from her surgery. Had it been for improved medical facilities, she would have been 23 years old this year. And she would have maybe looked like this. I put in this image because Anafkat was from, she was Islamic, and so she probably would have been wearing a hijab. And she would have been on her way to becoming a practicing physician to address the healthcare needs of women and children in her community. Now, I'd like to dedicate the rest of this presentation to the founder of the Women's Health Organization International. As I said earlier, it was founded by my dear friend Ntombi Nkiwane, who is 17 years old. For the past 6 years, she's been engaged in Fistula advocacy. She's passionate about the empowerment of women through the improvement of their medical experiences. She couples this with the quest for social justice. When she first started the organization in 2012, she had to endure many tedious processes such as amending the Constitution, and this is a letter to the government of Nova Scotia when she was amending the bylaws and the Constitution. It was a very long, tedious process and it was very taxing. And it made her feel like this. It made her feel, really anxious, and it made her feel kind of like giving up, but she carried on and she pushed through. And when she started designing the logo for the organization, it initially turned out like this. And so as you see, a woman has a baby on her back, and this symbolizes the bond between a mother and her child. And also many women in many African countries carry babies on their backs, so it was very important to her. And with the help of her friend, a graphic designer, the logo ends up looking like this, which is amazing. And the society finally became ratified in Nova Scotia. And then on the left, you see Habiba in Addis Ababa with the fistula patient. Habiba also went on to win the Zonta, the local chapter of the Zonta International Award. She was named one of Canada's top 20 under 20. She won the Planet Africa Award. And the Women's Health Organization International joined the United Nations campaign to end fistula. And it's listed on their website, so if you go on their website, you'll see more. And so what we're doing now is we're trying to start a fistula empowerment program. And as I said earlier, I'm the local coordinator in Halifax. And we plan to start weekly empowerment programs and empowerment workshops in Halifax, targeted towards African women. And the workshops will aim to create awareness, to educate and empower women in the African diaspora. And we hope to improve the health concerns of women. And so we need your help with this. First of all, we want you to check out our website, www.woy.ca. And it has more information about what we do. And then we also have Twitter and Facebook pages, and we're constantly on these to promote our cause and to educate people. So if you go on to twitter.com/woy11 or facebook.com/woy11, you'll find us there. Or you can come and speak to me afterwards, and Dr. Cooper, who's right here in the front, to learn more about the organization. Maybe you guys want to join, that would be great. So yeah, this is our voice. How can we help you? How will you find yours? All right, and that's me and Habiba.